Hey guys, Travis, the beer specialist from Davidson Centennial here. Coming to you to talk with one of my buddies, Tom, with Epic Brewing. Just kind of give you guys a chance to get to know them a little bit better. So, how you doing, Tom?
Doing good. Welcome to the Denver tap room here.
Thanks for letting me swing by again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Epic's been in Colorado for a while at this point, but you guys are originally out of Utah.
That's right. That's right. So we started in Salt Lake City, Utah, about coming on 11 or 12 years now. So quite some time. And we were started there by two gentlemen, Dave Cole, Peter Erickson, our two founders. And we were one of the first, if not the only brewery in Utah to be brewing full-strength beer as opposed to the less strong beer. And we were able to do that because we simply did not pour our beer on draft. Instead, we opted to bottle all of our beer, and that kind of gave us the workaround of being able to brew not only full strength, but pretty strong beer. We were one of the first to be doing that in Utah. And so because of that, we were an instant success, very popular when it came to breweries, especially back then, that we were growing so quickly, and for a number of reasons, had to find more space to brew more beer. And after about two and a half years, opened our Denver tap room, and we've now been here for coming on 8 or 9 years now. And so we've been now brewing most of our beer out of Denver. We still have our Salt Lake brewery still going strong there, but we have a bigger system here. This is very much our production facility, if you will. But of course, we still have our tap room here, which is always a good time.
So it's always a good spot to swing by.
Absolutely.
You guys have always kind of made me think of that saying, I wasn't born in Colorado, but I got here as fast as I could.
That's it. Exactly
Which,
right.
Actually kind of brings me to what I'm drinking. I remember pretty much when I was getting started in craft beer, this has always been kind of one of my staples. The Escaped Colorado IPA that you guys do.
That's right.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit of that.
So Escaped Colorado IPA is one of our flagship beers when we moved to Colorado. One of the first beers that we brewed here. And the name Escaped Colorado, I think, is great because it's not only part of our story of coming from Utah to Colorado, or expanding to Colorado, I should say.
Yeah.
But it connects on so many other levels to other people. You know, Colorado in general, for anyone, is just a good escape. It's good. You know, people come here on vacation. People come here for the recreation, the views of the mountains, the beautiful towns, and to be honest, the beer. I mean, that's why. Yeah. So not only is it part of our story, which people might not know, but it also kind of is part of a lot of people's story, and that's why I really like that beer.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's always been one of my favorites, pretty much since I started drinking craft beer in Colorado. Yeah, I mean, it's crisp, it's fairly clean and easy drinking for an IPA. It's not as aggressively bitter as a lot of people expect when they see those three letters.
That's right. And the Escaped Colorado, you know, we brewed it, 8 years ago. And in the last 8 years, as you have seen, IPAs have evolved so much. And there's now so many different variations of IPA. So it was actually about 2.5, 3 years ago, we reformulated that beer to kind of come up to speed with IPAs. So before, it was a very traditional West Coast style IPA, hopped with Citra and Centennial hops, very classic hops for an IPA. So we simply updated the recipe to be Citra and Mosaic hops, a little more juicy, a little more smooth on the mouth.
A little bit more of that, like almost citrus feel that I get when I drink it.
Yep. Bingo. And so it's not, I wouldn't quite go full-blown New England style, but it's what I would call, and other people are now referring to some IPAs as maybe a mountain style or a both coast IPA. You still get a little bit of that traditional, but you now have a little bit more of this smoothness that people look for in IPAs these days. So
Yeah, not overly bitter, not overly hazy and juicy.
yeah,
It's that nice middle ground, kind of.
That's exactly right.
Which actually, the evolution of Escape to Colorado kind of leads me into another point. Epic is not the smallest brewery, but to me, you guys have always done a really awesome job of adapting to market trends, like reformulating Escape to Colorado. But you're always pushing new and exciting kind of things. The Big Bad Baptist, which you guys are known for every year, there's super fun variations of that coming out. And you guys are playing in that hazy New England kind of realm too, with a couple of beers.
Well, that's right. You know, we've been around for a minute, and so we have and still brew very traditional style beers. In fact, we were just down in the tap room, and somebody was raving about our red ale that we brewed, you know, a generation ago. You know, so we still brew some of the traditional styles of beer that you'll find in our tap room in stores like Davidson's. But we also like to experiment and, you know, try to follow what people are really liking these days. So one example in terms of IPAs is our Chasing Ghosts. We released that last year. It is our hazy double IPA brewed with Citra and Cashmere hops. That Cashmere is not a hop that you see all the time, but we think just the name Cashmere makes you think of velvety and you know, smooth and
that thick lushness, kind of like the mouthfeel.
yeah. So we've you know, expanded some of our IPAs with Chasing Ghosts, with Citra Lush, and a few others. But then we've experimented. We have our Tart and Juicy line. One of our best-selling beers are Kettle Sour. So it's like a somewhat tart, maybe not full-blown sour beer. Last year we expanded that line and made Tart and Juicy Lemon Bomb, and then Tropical Tart and Juicy. So kind of riffs on our traditional Tart and Juicy beer, but with just different flavor profiles and different kind of tartness levels to play with, and really good beers to kind of get into with, you know, to kind of introduce yourself into the sour beer realm, which can be kind of scary sometimes.
Absolutely.
So, and then you touched on our Baptist, one of the beers that we are most known for, as you said, and it goes from our Son of a Baptist coffee stout that comes in at about 8%. And then we take it a step up to Big Bad Baptist, which is our barrel-aged stout, about 12%. And then every year we like to make a few special editions that we release in our bottles. Like this year we did a pecan pie, a chocolate raspberry, a double chocolate, double peanut butter, all barrel-aged in whiskey barrels as well, but just kind of have a few extra added flavors to kind of mix things up.
It's always been a lot of fun to kind of taste through that whole lineup.
Yeah.
A long night.
Yeah.
Baptists are big beers.
Definitely sharing beers, for sure.
Yeah. And the Son of a Baptist, I think you guys use local coffee for that, right?
That's right. Right now we're using Novo Coffee. They're actually a coffee roast right here in Rhino, only about a block away from here. But we switch it up every so often. We've previously used Corvus Coffee here in Denver.
Yep.
And then we've also featured other roasters from out of state sometimes. And with that beer in particular, the Son of the Baptist, we really like to highlight the coffee profile on that. That way, if you do get a different roaster, you can kind of see how that coffee really comes forward in that beer. And so that's one of my favorites. That's what I'm drinking right now. Great, especially it's Stout Month. February. So I thought I'd keep that rolling.
Yeah, a little bit of a chilly day. It's pretty much spot on.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I mean, kind of continuing down that path of innovation. Hard seltzer has been a huge just category, like a new thing that people are getting really excited about over the past year or so. And that's something you guys have kind of started wading into with Pacha, which is honestly probably when I'm drinking a seltzer my go-to. You guys do a really awesome job of setting that apart from a lot of what else is out there. That real fruit and you're the guy to talk about.
Well, I was going to say, but you're doing a great job. So Pacha, we released Pacha about a year ago. Unfortunately, right around the corner, the pandemic hit. So wasn't great timing, but who could have seen that coming? However, yes, we have dived into the hard seltzer with our brand that we call Pacha. And Pacha is the Sanskrit word for pure and genuine. So we thought that was just a great word to kind of brand this line for.
I love it.
And as you mentioned, we are using real fruit. A lot of seltzers use natural flavors.
Extracts.
And potentially very processed ways of getting these flavors.
Mm-hmm.
But using real fruit just gives it a very smooth, real flavor. It actually kind of gives it a really beautiful color too. It does. Like the mixed berry, one of our flavors is this really beautiful dark purple red. And then our tangerine grapefruit is kind of a nice like orangish pale color to it. Yeah.
Favorites.
And then what we've done too is, hard seltzers have been around, and then we're definitely not the first to be doing it. But what we also like to do with similar to our beers is innovate and try new things. So one thing that we've done in the past few months is released a few hard waters, starting with our hard coconut water.
Yep.
Just a coconutty, refreshing, very customizable product. I like to be at home and pop one open, put a squeeze of lime in it, or pop a little can of fresh pineapple juice and put a splash in there. And then we also have a new cranberry ginger hard water, just kind of another flavor.
Yep.
These are still products, so they're not bubbly like you might be used to with seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, rather than always follow the crowd or the trends, we like to do a little bit of that, but we also like to try new things and try to be the first to the scene with something. And who knows, maybe we'll have a great hit with them. And
some canned lighting.
Yeah, exactly. And we're continuing to work with that. Our brewers are also working on a few other new kind of beverage alternative products outside of the hard water game too. We're talking about potentially some hard teas.
Okay.
Not so much your southern sweet tea, but more of a hard green leaf and a hard black leaf tea made with real tea leaves. So, like I said, just kind of experimenting, seeing what it might take, and for now, I'm enjoying drinking them. So they're
I'm gonna have
a good
to
time.
pick some up so I can play around with adding some fruit juice.
Yeah, that's right.
See kind of where I end up.
That's exactly right.
And those teas sound refreshing. So.
Yes, so that's something our brewers are still kind of tweaking a little bit. I had a chance to try the hard black tea not long ago, and it tastes like tea. It's kind of crazy that it's we've kind of really hit it, and they're just kind of finalizing those recipes. So.
I love it. I'll look forward to it. It sounds like pretty much the best thing to take a can up on a hike.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then outside of the normal kind of epic beers that we have on here, we've also started brewing some smaller batch items. We recently did a peanut butter stout.
Delicious, by the way.
Yes, yeah, it was a big hit, especially for these winter months. We currently are releasing a creamsicle IPA, and then we're also working on a foeder-aged hazy IPA. So it'll be a little bit of hoppiness, a little bit of tartness. So yeah, kind of just, again, playing around with some smaller batch things as opposed to some of the bigger batch things we've done in the past.
Taking some time to have some fun.
Exactly. I know our brewers are enjoying it. I'm enjoying taste testing all of them.
I've loved everything that we've seen so far. So
Absolutely.
doing a great job.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
next time.
well, yeah. Thanks for coming down, and I know you've been to our tap room plenty of times, but open at noon every day until close, into the evening, and then all these products and more can be found at both Highlands Ranch and Centennial Davidson's locations. So
Always got plenty of Epic hanging around.
that's exactly right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, thanks so much for your time. It's always great to see you, man.
Always, man, and you're always welcome back, and we'll grab a beer in the tap room before you go. How about that?
Sounds great to me.
All right. Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.